Welcome to a crash course in how to spot the ongoing massive cover-up of 9/11 when it is happening.
If you are in the media or a top government official, we are on to you.
Hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil.
Yes, regardless of what you know, don't discuss it, especially if you are a public figure or a news anchor. If it's not reported, it didn't happen, and you never have to deal with the issues.
Become incredulous and indignant.
Avoid discussing key issues, and instead focus on side issues which can be used to show the topic as being critical of some otherwise sacrosanct group or theme. This is also known as the "how dare you" gambit.
Here's a good one. Create rumor mongers.
Oh yes. Avoid discussing issues by describing all charges, regardless of venue or evidence, as mere rumors and wild accusations. Other derogatory terms mutually exclusive of truth may work as well. This method works especially well with the silent press, because the only way the public can learn of the facts are through such arguable rumors. If you can associate the material with the internet, use this fact to certify it as a wild rumor which can have no basis in fact.
Use a straw man.
Find or create a seeming element of your opponent's argument which you can easily knock down to make yourself look good and the opponent to look bad. Either make up an issue you may safely imply exists based on your interpretation of the opponent's arguments or situation, or select the weakest aspect of the weakest charges. Then amplify their significance and destroy them in a way which appears to debunk all the charges, real and fabricated alike, while actually avoiding discussion of the real issues.
Sidetrack opponents with name-calling and ridicule. You know, truthers wear tinfoil hats and like to drink Kool-Aid. These things are so very obvious.
Associate opponents with unpopular titles such as kooks, right-wing, liberal, left-wing, terrorists, conspiracy buffs, radicals, militia, racists, religious fanatics, sexual deviants, and so forth. Unfortunately, this makes others shrink from support out of fear of gaining the same label, and then you avoid dealing with issues.
Hit and run.
Hit and run is a common tactic. In any public forum, make a brief attack of your opponent or the opponent position and then scamper off before an answer can be fielded, or simply ignore any answer. This works extremely well in internet and letters to the editor environments where a steady stream of new identities can be called upon without having to explain criticism reasoning. Simply make an accusation or other attack, never discussing issues, and never answering any subsequent response, for that would dignify the opponent's viewpoint.
Question their motives.
Twist or amplify any fact which could so taken to imply that the opponent operates out of a hidden personal agenda or other bias. This avoids discussing issues and forces the accuser on the defensive.
Here's a goodie. Invoke authority.
Claim for yourself or associate yourself with authority and present your argument with enough jargon and minutiae to illustrate you are one who knows, and then simply say it isn't so, without discussing issues or demonstrating concretely why or citing any real sources.
How about play dumb?
No matter what evidence or logical argument is offered, avoid discussing issues and deny they have any credibility, make any sense, or provide any proof. Act as if they do not contain or make a point, have logic, or support any conclusion. Mix well for the maximum effect.
Associate opponent charges with old news.
This is a derivative of the straw man. In any large-scale matter of high visibility, someone will make charges early on which can be or were already easily dealt with. Where it can be foreseen, have your own side raise a straw man issue and have it dealt with early on as part of the initial contingency plans. Subsequent charges, regardless of validity or new ground uncovered, can usually then be associated with the original charge and dismissed as simply being a rehash without need to address current issues.
Establish and rely upon fallback positions.
Using a minor matter or element of the facts, take the high road and confess with candor that some innocent mistake, in hindsight, was made, but that opponents have seized on the opportunity to blow it all out of proportion and imply greater criminalities, which just isn't so. Others can reinforce this on your behalf later. Done properly, this can garner sympathy and respect for coming clean and owning up to your mistakes without addressing more serious issues.
Here's a ploy that is really tricky. Enigmas have no solution.
Yes, drawing the overall umbrella of events surrounding the crime in the multitude of players and events, they will paint the entire affair as too complex to solve. Of course, this then causes those otherwise following the matter to begin to lose interest more quickly without having to address the actual issues.
Alice in Wonderland logic.
Alice in Wonderland logic avoids discussion of the issues by reasoning backwards with an apparent deductive logic in a way that forbears any actual material fact.
Demand complete and total solutions.
Avoid the issues by requiring opponents to solve the crime at hand completely.
Fit the facts to alternate conclusions.
This requires creative thinking unless the crime was planned with contingency conclusions in place.
Vanishing evidence and witnesses.
If it does not exist, it is not fact, and you won't have to address the issue.
Change the subject.
Yes. Find a way to sidetrack the discussion with abrasive or controversial comments in hopes of turning attention to a new, more manageable topic. This tactic works especially well with companions who can argue with you over the new topic and polarize the discussion arena in order to avoid discussing more key issues.
Emotionalize, antagonize, and goad opponents.
If you can do anything else, chide and taunt your opponents and draw them into emotional responses which will tend to make them look foolish and overly motivated, and generally render their material somewhat less coherent. Not only will you avoid discussing the issues in the first instance, but even if their emotional response addresses the issue, you can further avoid the issues by then focusing on how sensitive they are to criticism.
Ignore the proof presented and then demand impossible proofs.
This is a variant of the play dumb rule. Regardless of what material may be presented by an opponent in public forums, claim the material is irrelevant and demand proof that is impossible for the opponent to come by. It may exist, of course, but not be at his disposal, or it may be something which is known to be destroyed or withheld, such as a murder weapon. In order to completely avoid discussing issues may require you to categorically deny and be critical of media or books as valid sources. Deny that witnesses are acceptable, or even deny that statements made by government or other authorities have any meaning or relevance.
False evidence.
Whenever possible, introduce new facts or clues designed and manufactured to conflict with opponent presentations as useful tools to neutralize sensitive issues or impede resolution. This works best when the crime was designed with contingencies for the purpose and the facts cannot be easily separated from the fabrications.
Call a grand jury, special prosecutor, or other empowered investigative body.
Subvert the process to your benefit and effectively neutralize all sensitive issues without open discussion. Once convened, the evidence and testimony are required to be secret when properly handled. For instance, if you own the prosecuting attorney, it can ensure a grand jury hears no useful evidence and that the evidence is sealed and unavailable to subsequent investigators. Once a favorable verdict is achieved, the matter can be considered officially closed.
Manufacture a new truth.
Yes, create your own expert group, author, leader, or influence existing ones willing to forge new ground via scientific, investigative, or social research or testimony which concludes favorably. In this way, if you must actually address issues, you can do so authoritatively.
Create bigger distractions.
If what we have already discussed does not seem to be working to distract from sensitive issues or to prevent unwanted media coverage of unstoppable events, such as trials, create bigger news stories, or treat little ones as big, to distract the multitudes.
Silence critics.
If the above methods do not prevail, consider removing opponents from circulation by some definitive solution so that the need to address issues is removed entirely. This can be by their death, arrest and detention, blackmail or destruction of their character by release of blackmail information, or merely by proper intimidation with blackmail or other threats.
Vanish.
If you are a key holder of 9/11 secrets and you think the heat is getting too hot, to avoid the issues, vacate the kitchen.
We hope that these rules of disinformating may help to occasionally remind ourselves about how the pros play the 9/11 cover-up game. If you want more information about what really happened on 9/11, visit Architects and Engineers for 9/11truth.org.
Over 1,400 verified architectural and engineering professionals and nearly 11,000 other supporters have signed a petition demanding of Congress a truly independent investigation. The petition is open to everyone at Architects and Engineers for 9/11truth.org.